Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of All in All with Alex. Today, we are here with a very special guest, Mr. Andre Paradis. How you doing today, sir?
I'm very good. Thank you. Good to meet you officially.
Oh yeah, yes, sir. Same here, same here. So, can you give the people a quick background about yourself before we get started?
Oh, okay. Try to be quick because, okay. So I'm born French Canadian in Quebec City, Canada. So that's my heritage, where I come from. French was my first language. Was born in a kind of, I have to say, it's a strange family where I felt like, like a lot of people feel they were black sheep in the family. Well, this sheep did not belong in the family. Like this, at 5 years old, I really kind of came to term that these people, it was a mistake. These people are not my people somehow. Like it did not relate to them. I was an outsider in my own family at 5 years old. Kind of
Hmm.
freaky, but that got me on the track of watching watching people, like just try to understand how even that's possible that I could be born in the wrong family. Anyway, I became an observant of life of people, just trying to understand like, what the hell is all this. So I've been watching people since 5 years old as part of my work. As a leadership coach, I've developed that acute affinity to connect and sort of what's the word, like that empath kind of thing. When you know what's happening, you sense what's happening, but without any means of really knowing, but you feel it, you know it.
Hmm.
So that's sort of something I started at 5 years old, and I was a professional dancer. I discovered I could dance in high school, and it was ballroom at the time, and I had an affinity for dancing, and that's all I wanted to do because I was a miserable kid. I wanted to dance because it made me happy, made me smile, made me want to get up in the morning, as opposed to trying to not be here much longer. So from there, I took it all the way to Los Angeles, and I made a career at dancing, not ballroom dancing. That was the beginning. I was a commercial jazz dancer, contemporary dancer, they call it now. So I danced with Michael Jackson. I danced with Prince. I danced with Paul Abdul. I danced with Iglesias. I went around the world for 15 years, traveling, entertaining. I produced some concert. I was in Thailand for 4 months. Produced their pop female stars concert. They wanted an American style concert. I designed the whole thing. So I lived the life. I went from a snowbank in Quebec, made my way to Los Angeles and kind of lived the life of an artist. And again, it's that's all I wanted to do
Hmm.
because it made me happy. It lived in my spirit.
Right.
Um, 15 years of this. My wife's also a ballerina. We met in one of my classes because as an entertainer, you teach, you dance, you perform, you travel, you come back, you teach, right? So my wife is a student of mine. Oops. I mean, you know, you know. um, she's a ballerina, so we were traveling the world in different ways because there were different brackets of dancing. And when you start a family, I got off the road completely. I was not interested. I was not going to be an absent dad. I just thought, I mean, that was my problem with my family. Like, like I was not going to be an absent dad. So
Mhm.
I got myself grounded, opened a car business in Los Angeles. I kept dancing, but it had to be local. I refused to fly out. I refused to go anywhere. I was staying in town. So that took off really quickly. And so the car business allowed me to, and I love cars. That's one of my passion, old cars and restoring old cars. Uh, and all that to say, within all this, that business allowed me to buy a house, raise my kids. I was 6 minutes from the house. The business was 6 minutes from my house, and the house was 2 blocks from the school. So both my wife and I were at all the recitals, all the Christmas parade, the Halloween parade. I was present by design, and that was really important to me. Um, and life on the road after a while, 15 years like, so to be planted in the city and to stay was awesome. So phase two of my life, throughout this entire story, by the way, I was always into personal development workshops. Always before it was popular, my friends would like, we'll go to the beach. And I go, yeah, I'll be in Culver City in the workshop. They go, that's so weird. What's wrong with you? I go, no, I'm fine. I'm just going to learn some stuff. And that's always been my brain, trying to get ahead of myself, trying to learn what I don't know. I want to know everything. This is part of my brain is curious about everything.
Mhm.
So through this thing, always personal development, 2006, I ended up in a workshop called Understanding Women. Right? Because again, at that time, we're married a few years. I have a baby and a toddler. We're doing great. My wife's an angel, right? We get along. I'm not looking for this information, but I was invited to I was invited to be there, so I was there, and I thought it was going to be cute. And that workshop changed my life, and that was the beginning of the coaching business. I realized I realized that I knew nothing about women in that workshop. I literally slipped off my chair like 7 times throughout the workshop, like slipped off of my chair. Because we know they're different, right? But I'm talking like this is like Twilight Zone. This is like how is this possible, right? And they had us discuss the ladies on both sides of us on a break, like this is how we are. And she go, take 5 minutes and speak to the ladies next to you. And we're like, what? Yeah. I'm like, that's impossible. I know that's how we are, but that's crazy. Yeah. Sometimes I think we're crazy, right? Like it was anyway. So it blew my mind seriously, and I came out of that workshop understanding that I knew nothing about women. But what
Mhm.
really scared the life out of me is, I mean, it meant I knew nothing about my wife. And I saw that. And my wife has 5 older brothers. She's easygoing, but she's still a woman.
Mhm.
And right. So the stuff that derail me sometimes I could never understand because I never meant to derail her. That's never something I did. Anyway, my point is that was the beginning of when I realized I knew nothing about my wife and the liability of that. You know, my all my brothers and sisters are married, divorced, three, two, three, and one son, four. I have my wife, I have my life, I have my kids, my family. We're doing great. But the thought of becoming a statistics because I didn't know, that just launched me into complete madness. So what I did is I took that company's entire work curriculum. They had like 9 or 10 workshops, maybe 11. I took all of them. And then after the cycle of taking their workshops, you could assist to be in the room, right, for free. So I started assisting to review all the stuff, all the work, just to hear it again, to integrate it, to know it. There's so many levels and details, and that's how it started. I started. I was in the track to become a workshop leader for them, but ultimately that I changed gear, and I continued with training with other masters. So I got like 5 lines of mastery, if you want, in the realm of relationship dynamics through anthropology, through the chemistry of our bodies and our brains, through the psychology of human beings and trauma release, right? Through nature bound, and then so people like Esther Perel, who was not known at the time when I was around her. So that's how we got here. you know, it's a hell of a story. So 3 phases to my life.
Yeah. That's
Whew.
interesting. So I mean, and
Hey,
it's okay. So you said you started to more so understand women, right? Um,
yeah.
how long do you how long do you feel like that took you? Because I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, there's not very many men in the world that truly understand women. So
Well, because right, no, because we can't, because we approach everything from our brain, our perspective, our point of view, and what motivates us. So the way we operate, if we go back to anthropology, as a caveman, as a cave woman, right? In those times, and we were that for millennia. Like we've been cavemen, can win for millennia. Like this not sort of thing that just kind of happened, right? We're talking like millions of years.
mhm,
And men and women learn to survive by coming together and developing different skills and different abilities in order to survive. So we come together. So hunter gatherer system is in place, but a hunter does not think like a gatherer, does not act like a gatherer, is not motivated like a gatherer, like a whole has a whole different skill set to go hunting. So our abilities to do everything physically, even the shape of our eyes is different than women to this day, per being a hunter and be able to focus on the prey. And to this day, men are more of a men have a natural ability to spot moving objects in the wild like a bunny in a field. Do you know what I mean? And that's also why we say that men are better drivers because moving objects and dancing around that is something that we kind of could do naturally.
mhm,
Now we're not necessarily better driver. We're better, not safer driver. We're better drivers. We have the ability to weave through and actually see things moving,
mhm,
just like a hunter needs to in order to catch the prey. Right? Like if the prey is going this way, just like a football player, making the shot across the field, like how does he calculate getting to the? Do you know what I mean? That whole like there's a science, but we kind of have that in our brain, like knowing where to shoot so it connects. Do you know what I mean? That's the
right,
hunter brain, right?
right,
And it's also hunters are about providing, protecting their families, provide, protect, cherish the family. So we go hunting to provide because we love our families and kids, right? Like, but it's a survival mechanism. So we forget all these things. So we don't understand how or why we're so different, especially now that the culture says men and women are the same. But we're not. We've never been. Not even a little bit. We're completely opposite.
Right.
But we're complementary. We're made to fit. You know what I mean? So the hunter-gatherer paradigm is sort of still what we do today. But we think we're beyond that. And the idea that we're beyond that and we should be acting the same, talking the same, be triggered and or motivated by the same thing. Like women want men to act like their girlfriends, right? Like sweet, sensitive, talkative, vulnerable. Tell me how you feel. Tell me how you feel. Talk to me more. Talk to me more. Men don't do that. Not because they're jerks, because they're men. We're not. We don't do this. So, but women are insisting that if we were more like women, that'd be a lot easier. Well, sure, but that's not normal. It's like you want you want you can't make your husband, your boyfriend, you be your girlfriend. It won't work. It'll leave you frustrated. So you're better off understanding how he functions, what brings him forward, what motivates him. But like I said, in a culture where we think, you know, we're equals, well then if he's not doing my way, he's doing it wrong. Right. And men will
Right.
say the same thing. I had a client say to me, he's like, I don't care about all the shit that you say. If you could just tell me how to get my wife to just do one freaking thing at a time. And I laughed my brain out. I'm like, that's a man's brain. We do one thing at a time, like Hunter with single focus. We do one thing till it's done. We change gear, do another thing. They do 8 things at the same time. Nothing gets finished, but it gets finished in time as everything rotates at the same. That's just how a gatherer survive. So
Mhm.
men are frustrated with women because we find them too sensitive, overwhelmingly in their feelings, right? Unnecessarily in their feelings, and indulge in their feelings, and it's totally unnecessary. Totally unnecessary. This is our perspective of women. Like, they just need to relax. And then we'll say stuff like, "Oh, I can't tell you anything. You take everything personally. You're too sensitive. I'm trying to help you, but now you're crying. Like you're too, right?" We get frustrated with them, not understanding their operating system. There's a reason for this, but we don't
Mhm.
know because we don't know, and women don't explain it because that's just how they're built. Like, and vice versa. So that's the fun part for me is like to decode. I actually say that I have the owner's manual for men that I could teach women. I have the owner's manual for women that I teach men.
Okay. Yeah,
And
that was gonna be my next thing. Was
yeah,
you went to the class for understanding women, but do they have a class for women to understand men? Because you know,
yes,
because I mean, men we sometimes get in the place of trying to figure out maybe the woman that we're with or whatever, and try to really understand her. But it's like we may feel like at some points that she's not trying to figure out where I'm coming from, or where
right,
I am, or how
right,
I'm doing things. So
absolutely. So their primary workshop was called Understanding Man. Right, that was the primary workshop for the ladies because the women would come so women are much more interested in this kind of work, first of all. Because men, to this day, I have men and women coming at me, but mostly women are the ones going, "How do I do this? What's wrong with me? How come this isn't working? I got this. I should be, you know what I mean? I'm young. I have money. I have a business, a career, a life, a house, a car. I'm no trouble. How come nobody wants to date me?" And they go, "Well, because you're too masculine." And they go, "Ah, that's mean." I go, "No, it's not. I'm not trying to be mean. Your energy is masculine. You man. You live like a man. You work like a man. You act like a man. Not your fault because when you live like a man, you have to act like a man. And in that, your femininity kind of fades just because there's no place for that if you're going to be fighting outside in the world and conquering everything. Do you know what I
mm,
mean? Your boss babe is amazing, but that leaves no space for lovely, feminine, happy, joyful, light-hearted, you know, like
yeah,
inviting, magnetic, radiant. That all goes out the window because that's opposite of. So when women fall into our cultural "go girl," you know, protect yourself, they lose that feminine essence that attracts men. And so it so that's part of the problem. And so we also raise men in our culture to be sweet, sensitive, passive, don't be toxic, and so we shame men out of being masculine and don't know what to do. So it's women seek out this information more than men. Men just kind of throw their hands up and go, "I don't know." Or the opposite, they'll go, "I'll figure it out." And they go, "How are you gonna figure it out? You don't know anything." "Well, I'll figure it out." We have this default that we could fix things. So women take this more personally. So the idea of understanding men, they step in. What I see a lot it's not is that a problem? I don't know if I want to say it's a problem. It's what happens. What happens is that when God, it took me years to decode that, by the way, understanding women. Like, if you understand that they live moment to moment, the moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment through their feelings. Something we don't do. We don't live through our feelings. Like,
Mhm.
our feelings are irrelevant. Like, it doesn't matter if I feel like going to work, I'm going to work. Why? Because we need to survive. Like, it doesn't matter how I feel, it needs to get done, it needs to get conquered, it needs to get booked, it needs to get handled, it needs to get fixed, right? So as men, our feelings are irrelevant. We do what has to be done so we all survive, right? Whatever that is. But for them, they're in their feelings all the time. Like, when I figured that out, it was like, ah, because all of a sudden the light came on, and I could look at them and their behavior, like, oh look, she's angry because and this, and that made her mad, and now she was happy, but somebody flipped off on the freeway. Now she's pissed off, and like, just watch her just change, like the weather on the East Coast, moment to moment, depending on what's coming at her. And that's also a gathering brain. That's what they do. The environment goes into them, and they feel good, bad, happy, sad, angry, frustrated, right? Throughout the day with, and sometimes it's us, sometimes it's just, the traffic, the people at work, the boss who says something sarcastic. So she thought, now she's angry at him. She can hardly work, right? So, so that's so. And what happens with that is, if you understand that everything that comes at them makes them feel good or bad or sad or angry or sad, like, they're constantly go from feeling to feeling to feeling to feeling. And I did a lot of research on this, right? Because I was like, I found that amazingly fascinating and quite disturbing, because, again, because they change like the wind, right? And that's exhausting. It's exhausting to watch. Do you know what I mean? And it's
Mhm.
not easy, but that's how they run. It's not their fault, but that kind of makes them like, "Ugh," sometimes, and overwhelming to us. So get this. So because their feeling is what's driving, when we make them feel bad, it's your fault. Do you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
that, what you just said earlier, like, women really want to understand where we're coming from? Often it's difficult for them to even consider that, because you just made her feel bad. You just, hurt her feelings. You just forgot this, and now she obviously don't care. So they get stuck in that. So that kind of kills the inquiry of being able to be logical and go, babe, why did you do that? Because that really kind of sucked. Like, I
Mhm.
felt that you did it on purpose, or at least that you know that you did that. 'Cause that made me feel terrible. But they can't be rational when they're in their feelings, and if they're mad, then that conversation doesn't happen.
Mhm.
But it's possible we understand what happens, because we, when you understand how it works, we have the ability to rescue them from that. And that's when we become the heroes in their eyes, because we rescue them from their, right? But you have to know what's happening instead of getting frustrated and go, why are you like that? Why don't you just forget about it? Just let it go. Right? Why does that bother you? Just let it go, because that's what we do, right? And
Right.
when you tell her just let it go, she wants to kill you, because now you're actually adding the stress of what's happening by trying to blow it off, because
Yeah.
that's what we do.
Now you don't
Th-
care about feelings.
And so means you don't care about her, you don't respect her, you don't blah 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 blah. Now she's even more mad. You can't do that. By the
Mhm.
way, there's a very simple way to do this, right? Like, so that's what I teach. Like, how do you save her from her feelings? How do you become her hero, as opposed to getting irritated, not understanding, and telling her to do it like you?
Mm.
It's pretty cool stuff, right? But again, we're so different that doesn't register on us. We like, so we have to be trained, and that's what I do. I train people into this material. Like, when you understand a woman's instinct, what motivates her, why she, like, everything, the way they process everything, that is nothing to do with the way we do it, not even similar in a little way. And you have to keep watching it and go, oh my God, there it is. He was right. Because people, like, guys don't even believe it. Right? They go, nah. I'm like, okay, go ahead. Just do you and see what happens. But so when they actually kind of start practice and see it, they go, wait, look, she just, right. And vice versa for the ladies. Because in my world, it's interesting. You both don't have to know how this works. As long as one of the two in a coupledom knows how to work with the other's instinct have him provide, protect, as far as a man, men will show up, provide, protect instinctively. When you know how to invite that, pull that out of them, we have it instinctively, but you you can't command it, because that's when it backfires. You have to invite it. I call that Manglish, by the way. Ladies have to learn to speak Manglish to get the hero to show up. Because if you get mad and stomp your feet and start crying, nagging, demanding, commanding, it goes straight to hell because men don't respond to that, right? Which is a lot of women experience. Like the guy, he's just a jerk. I ask, and he still doesn't do it because you can't approach men that way. They don't respond to that. Not because they're jerks, because they're men, right? The masculinity paradigm means that, I choose to step up because I want to. If you try to make me, I'm not gonna. And that starts in childhood with mother. We get away from our mothers and we don't let women tell us what to do. It's unnatural.
Mhm,
But you can invite us. You get everything you want, right? So I guess it's a language thing. It's a
mhm,
anyway. So I'm rambling on. I could do this all day long. You get this, but it's really not understanding really at all what's happening on the other side that's messing us up. Nobody's misbehaving. We're just operating in our natural state of being. But man and women are completely 100% different. And
mhm.
that the beauty is that we actually bring the part to the other that we don't have.
Right. So, uh,
Whoosh.
yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, I know you said you're rambling, but I mean, it's interesting just hearing the dialogue and everything about because I mean, I can tell you, me being a 31-year-old male, I do not understand women completely. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm not even gonna act like I understand women completely. When you feel like you understand them a little bit, then you realize you have no idea. So,
Yeah. No,
um,
again, it's all it's the operating system. I have men say to me, "Listen, okay, dude, okay, dude, okay, dude, like, okay, like, help me out, all right?" So I go up to her and says, "What is it that you want? Just tell me what you want, and I'll do it." And she goes, "If I have to tell you," and it's like I can't win, right? Like, like now again, because women, this is factual, right? They're not doing it on purpose. They're not trying to be like difficult because woman on woman, watch women together. They know when Susie's not okay, right? They understand what's happening. They go, "Oh, are you feeling okay, honey? Are you all right? No, I don't know. Oh, do you need some?" Like they can sense what they need from each other because they have the same vibe and operating system. So when you care for a friend, a girlfriend, right, a family member, you kind of step in, lean in, ask questions, and often you observe them a lot, so you know what they like, you know how they do, da, 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 right? So they think that if we care for them, we do the same thing. So the idea, like sometimes they talk like they want us to read their minds, and we're like, I'm not a mind reader, but if you love me, you would know because I love you. And I had a client get this. This goes down to minute stuff. They've been together 4 months. 4 months. They go to a coffee house, and so he's like, "I'll get some coffee." There was a little crowded, so they have to wait. And they finally sit down. He goes, "I'll get the coffee. You just sit here." And he goes, "So we're taking your coffee." And she lost her mind. Because the first time they had coffee together, she knew exactly what took his coffee, memorized it, programmed it, put it on her phone, but put in the file in her brain because the idea of now she knows how to please him, right? That's the feminine kind of approach. So they watch us, you know, like with vigilantly with all the details, and their brains are wired that they can retain those details, right? We know this, but
mhm.
we don't pay attention to this stuff. Do you know what I mean? So 4 months into a relationship, they're boyfriend and girlfriend, and he doesn't want to take my coffee. What a jerk, right? If he cared, he would. Like me, that's what she's saying. That women, they're normal. That's what we know. Right? These stupid, silly, freaking nothing things is what derails us. Again, they're assuming the other one should act like us, should
Mm.
behave like us, should be motivated the same way we are. We're not. So, ladies, it's not that men are misbehaving. We just have a whole different operating system. But so the details that you're attached to, we're not, and you kind of have to understand that. Like I
Mhm.
said, when I teach ladies about men's instinct and operating system, right, 50% of everything they take personally goes away.
Mm.
That itself is a new life for the ladies. They go, "Oh, no, it's just a guy." Instead of like, instead of getting their feelings hurt, they could say like, that's my man. That's my man. This kind of stuff doesn't record on him. That's not his fault. He's my man." And then she also knows how to get it, on his radar
Mm-hmm.
invite him to do it when he's not aware of it. So again, that's the language. That's the communication stuff that I teach. Like, Manglish.
English. I like that term. I like that term. You know how to speak Manglish?
Yep.
Hey, baby, you know how to speak English?
But it's so important, right? It's so
Yeah.
important because it starts with a miscommunication, and the wheels come off, and we don't know how we got there.
Right, right. I agree. So, let's switch it up. I got a question. I
Yeah.
just came up. There's not even on my question list. So, what is the percentage that you see of clients that have came to you that maybe are unhappy with their situation, or um, like as far as women to men ratio, there was either more unhappy or either more, wanted to learn how to learn the
Maneuver
other side.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's okay. So the statistic is when people break up, 80% of the time is the woman's choice. Those are statistics. Men tend to, because men aren't we're not driving our lives through our feelings. We do the stuff we have to do and stuff, and we're quite aware of, everybody's got shortcomings. Everybody's got little quirks and weird shit. You know what I mean? Everybody.
Hmm.
So men and women both have them, but men have. If the guy decides to marry the woman, to you know what I mean, he everything about her that's quirky is not a big deal. You know what I mean? He's like, look, she's gonna go crazy right now. Watch, 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 watch. And if somebody cut her off, like, watch, watch, she's gonna go. Like, we think it's funny, right? The things that they go, like the things that's quirky about them. If it's not a deal breaker, we kind of like, this is who she is. This is my girl, right? So we kind of like tend to flow with that stuff. Again, if it's not a deal breaker, if it's a deal breaker, then it's over. But when men and women are together for years and years, like the men are kind of just letting the women be who they are, and manage this. Like I said, they don't take it things on. They don't try to change her. They don't want to, like, you know what I mean. But
Hmm.
again, women, because they're driving through the feelings, often he makes her feel bad. Often he's right missing the boat. Often he's not attentive enough. Right? He doesn't talk enough. Right, and now she tries to bring him around to make him act right, and that's a disaster. So often women will be the ones leaving because they're living at years of frustration, not understanding how to bring him forth because they're doing it like a man on man, which doesn't work. You actually have to do it woman on man, English again, um, to bring him in to be able to open the conversation, talk about it without starting a fight. That's the problem. Most people don't know how to do conflict resolution peacefully. They end up
Hmm.
fighting. So after a while, the woman doesn't bring it up anymore because we end up fighting, and he's more of a jerk than he was before I try to even bring it up. So women jump the boat, where men are typically surprised because it's just different operating system. Like I said, women take it personally and they get the feelings hurt, and eventually they can't take it. When guys
Hmm.
are like, hey, it's pretty good, it's all good, it's all right, it's all right, it's all right, it's all right, and they don't really move, they don't really go. So that's the 80-20 rule. That's for real. What was the other part of that question? You had two parts.
no, it was just basically, it was really just one. I was just asking, who basically, I guess would be that comes to you, like as far as your clients, or who are the most unhappy? Is it men or women, or who's trying to understand each other the most? Is it men or women?
So, like I said earlier, women are seeking out this information much more because they're more hurt, they're more confused. They don't understand if they have everything that the culture says you should be independent and strong, have a job, make money, have a car, blah 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 blah. Right? So act like an adult, basically, is really what they do. But they don't understand how that being in that energy of providing protecting for yourself, which is masculine, will fade your feminine energy, and men don't connect with women who are in their masculine. So
Mhm.
men don't so you become invisible to men is what I'm saying. So the more independent and strong you are, the more masculine you operate into your daily life. Most women don't have the thought or the understanding that that pushes men away. You could be a beautiful woman, but men are only attracted to feminine energy.
Mhm.
You could be Jennifer Lopez, but if you're a boss, Jennifer Lopez, you disappear. Like
Right.
will think you're hot, but nobody's gonna want to come near you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just what it is, right? Men are attracted. Men want to protect feminine energy. So when you're masculine energy, ladies, men don't want to come near you, and men get kind of crass, and they'll talk. They'll tell jokes that are inappropriate because there's no girl in the space. It's like another dude, in a skirt. Like that's I hate to say, but it's energetically is what's happening. So
Like,
women, most of my clients are women who are single, who are 35 plus. They've been independent and build their business and their lives and their career and da 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 da. Right? They've neglected relationship, thinking they'll do it later because they're too busy. Maybe kids, but later because I'm too busy. I'm trying to get independent, strong, independent, and powerful, masculine, masculine, masculine. That's how we raise them. Not their fault. But then at 35, they realize that money doesn't make them happy. They're exhausted. They want to chill. They want to relax. They want companionship. They want to be in a relationship. Some just realize they want kids at
mhm.
35. Like it's a bit late, right? We
Yeah.
call that we call that geriatric pregnancy at 35. This is where things get really complicated for women.
Mhm.
But that's typically when they hit the wall and they kind of like go, "Oh my god." And they don't understand they can't get a date. If they get a date, they get ghosted. They don't understand why. So again, their feminine energy is not present, and because they kind of just push it back. So what I do with them is I bring it back. How do you
Right.
recalibrate? How you recalibrate? Because women are women. It's in there, right? We just have to like water that seed again and bring it forth. And in
Right.
my world, a true boss babe is a woman who could go to work, right, and handle whatever she wants to handle, and so she feels, she handles her life. But I want to be crass here, right? So you can be boss babe at work all day long, but leave your balls at work. You know what I'm saying, right? Don't bring that shit out in the world. Don't bring that shit on a date.
Yeah, I'm with
Don't
you. I understand, but it was just funny.
because that's what women do, right? They go on a date, they pull their balls in the guy's face.
Yeah,
Everywhere they go, they have the ball. I guess
yeah.
get your balls out of my face. It's
Who
irritating.
got the biggest cojones? Who got the biggest cojones?
You know what I mean? And they
Yeah.
go, "Oh, I intimidate men." I go, "You don't intimidate men. You're irritating. You don't know how to be a girl, and you think being a boss or being that kind of energy that's attractive. It's not." So
Mhm.
now get this. This is a horrible thing about this whole thing. Again, masculine and feminine is an energy. It's not a gender, right? There's a lot of feminine men, there's a lot of masculine women. They're inside out. It's called ego dystonic. So get this. This is again in nature. Everything is magnetized. Everything is polarized,
Mhm.
right? The positive actually attracts the negative, feminine to masculine, black to white. You know what I mean? The day and light, like this opposition, everything. That's the polarity of life itself,
Right,
right?
right.
So the only way that things continue, flourish, expand, grow is in nature. It's all polarized. So what happened is when a woman is now masculine, she will polarize to her a feminine man, not a masculine man. Masculine men will just walk away from you. They just don't want anything to do with you. They won't say hi. You'll never meet one. Right. So some of my clients have never met a man. All they do is attract boys. Energetically, they're so boss babe with their balls out. They attract the sweet guys, the feminine men who don't want to work. They don't want to take care of them. They don't want to marry them. They don't want to marry. They don't want to have kids with them. They don't want to pay for them. They don't want to take care of them. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to do instinctual stuff that men do: provide, protect, cherish, support, give to women. They don't want to do this. They
Mhm.
want you to do it for them. So feminine men want to be taken care of. They want you to, to get that promotion so he can lay on the couch, spoon the dog, and write his music, right? He'll borrow money that he says he's going to pay you back. Never
Mhm.
gonna. He takes your money, right? He's going to move in a few months because his landlord's a douche. He's going to quit his job because his boss is a dick, right? And he's driving your car because he can't afford to fix this piece of shit. And next thing you know, you walk in his dog because he's too lazy to do it. And women are like, "I'm in hell. What happened?" But these guys are sweet, sensitive, loving, kind, talkative. They're very seductive. They'll seduce you out of your pants so quickly. You think you're having a relationship, you're the man and he's the girl, and it's a disaster. It's a disaster. So we flip the script. So what I'm saying, the problem here is that when women are in the masculine, which most of them are because we raise them that way, they attract boys, not men, and it's a disaster, and they think that's men.
Mhm.
But because they don't get to meet men energetically, men don't show up. So these are my clients typically. Like they don't understand what is going on and what's wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just a little too masculine. We need to recalibrate you. And the
Mhm.
beautiful thing is when they actually kind of recalibrate back into feminine as needed, right? Knowing when to do it. That's the boss babe in my world. Right? You need to do both. So
Right.
do the one that's, do the one's appropriate when you're out of work. And guess what happens? Masculine men then show up. They're attracted to that magnetic, beautiful feminine energy. That takes some practice in the beginning for these ladies, but like
Mhm.
anything else, it's in there. You just need to practice. But the guy, men who provide, protect, cherish, give support, women are the masculine ones. So
Mhm.
men give to women, boys take from women.
Right.
Two different
So,
machines. They look the same. Two different, three different temperament actually. In my world, there's boys, guys, and men. There's three different types of men. They look the same. They act completely differently. So if you're a masculine woman, you'll attract boys. It's a terrible problem. If you want men who actually do everything right, provide, protect, cherish, give support, want to marry you, want to take care of you, want to pay for you, what this is what men do instinctively, you got to magnetize your feminine energy. You have to beam out this energy, and your life and your reality will change completely. I do it every day.
mhm.
Not to show off,
So,
but but I just did.
nah, you good. I mean, so do you find that you have more clients that are uh women that blame the man for her
Mm.
not being able to do right, or men blaming the women for them not being able to
No,
understand?
by the time they get to me, somehow they've tried it all and nothing's working. So they're not offended what I'm saying. The women that come to me like, I don't get it. I listened to my shitty mom who, like married the wrong guy, and we knew this. She knew this. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
women who've made poor choices will talk shit to their kids the rest of their life. Don't, and they teach their daughters to be strong and independent because you can't count on men. But you made a wrong choice. You made a bad choice, right? So a lot of young girls have been raised in families where mom made a terrible choice. And she can blame all man for that. And now the girls in the household are afraid of man because you can't trust them because she never ever said anything different, right? So don't listen to your mom. She made terrible choices. Don't listen to your teachers, at school who all, like um, don't want to go there, but like it's what's in colleges where they teach you is men are terrible, men are toxic, men you can't trust them, they cheat, right? So if you make half the planet the enemy, well, this is what I get, right? Anyway, so my point is when they realize they can't listen to their mothers or their teachers or their friends or the culture and everything they bought into makes them miserable and they can't figure it out because all of a sudden they want relationships, they want marriages, they want men, and they want the traditional lifestyle, but not being traditional, it makes that very complicated. So those my ladies come at me, but with apparently you got some stuff. Bring it because I'm confused, but I want this now. I've never wanted this more in my life. I want to be a mother and a wife. I don't know how to do this. But you've done it with Susie and Jackie, and you know what I mean? I see them change in front of me. Do me. You know what I mean? So that's the women. The man will come with the men who are this all comes from injury, by the way, right? It's trauma from childhood that these things. That's how these things flourish. So the guys have been the men who come at me because they're feminized and kind of confused because they have a sense that they should handle some shit, that they need to conquer themselves, their fear, they need to push through some stuff. But they were raised by women. These guys typically don't have fathers, so they don't have role models, and they were raised by their mothers to be sweet and sensitive and talking to themselves. So they're too feminine for their own good, but their essence is like, I know this isn't right. I know this isn't right. This is killing me, and always up in the friend zone because these guys don't make women feel safe. And if you can't make a woman feel safe, you're you're just going nowhere, right? You're friend zone on a spot. So they approach women with a nice guy, you know, that the nice guy routine, and women hate that. Not that you should be a jerk, but the passive nice guys. Where do you want to go for dinner? Do I get to see this weekend? So what movie you want to go see? And keep putting the decision on her. That makes a woman more masculine. They absolutely hate it, especially in dating circumstances. Like, make the plan, dude. Make the plan. Like impress her and just let her. So she's able to slip into a feminine woman, but these guys, like the soft men, just women. So, and they become angry and hateful. They want to blame women. I go, it's not the women, it's you, dude. So
Yeah.
anyway, those are the men. The rest of them are clients that are married and they don't understand everything that I talked about earlier, right? She thinks he's a jerk and he thinks she's too emotional and then trying to mother him and change him. He's like, ah, this is me. What the hell? You married me that way. Well, now that's
Yeah.
not good enough. So, right. So that's what comes at me. But it's fun because it's very, very takes a minute. There's a few layers, but it's actually easy to learn when you get it. When you get it, when you practice it, and when you see it in action, it's it's really ever my clients always at the end of the program will go stuff like, "God, I get it. It's so much easier than I ever believed, right? Because it was so confusing. It's just you have to know how it works. It's
Mhm.
not that complicated. Again, it's nature.
Right.
Kind of beautiful.
So,
Whew, you got
oh,
me going again. See, you got me going. See,
well, I mean, I feel like, like I said before, well, I don't know if I said on this podcast or the previous three that I had before this, I'm not sure, but I like to let people talk because the context is important.
right?
It's not about just the story; it's about the context behind everything to really understand
Mm,
certain things. So I don't like to cut people off. I like to let them talk because you
appreciate
learn
that.
you learn more when it's natural, when it's naturally flowing from what they're saying.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
It's also because also in my work is connect the dots, right? I can say one thing, but I can say it because this is why it works that way. They connect the dots
mhm.
as opposed to just a statement like
Right,
it,
right, I agree.
he's
I
not going to
agree.
be your girlfriend. He's not going to act like your girlfriend. Well,
Yeah.
there's a reason for that. Anyway, go ahead.
So, before we get too deep in it, where can people reach out to you to, whether they want to, hire you as their relationship coach, or if they want to understand women, or if they want to understand men, so
Nice.
on.
All right. So actually, if you don't mind, I have two gifts for your listeners.
Okay, perfect.
So just I think we touched on this a little bit before we started the podcast. My job is not the point, right? I help men and
Mhm.
women in getting help, getting to attain and sustain healthy long term love relationships. That's my go to. I don't teach how to hook up. That's not. I'm not interested in that. So I'm busy. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm plenty busy. It's not about that. But the big mission I have a God calling that I used to resent is to spread this to the masses. There is
Mhm.
hope, ladies. It is doable. There is a way to understand men. We have to understand men. Man, there's a way to, understand women. When you understand the operating system, the instinct through and through, and go practice it, it's really workable. I didn't. I don't think you know. I don't know you know this, but not only do I do this work, but I'm also an ordained minister. I married some of my clients. I married them myself. I just did two last summer.
Okay.
So the stuff works, is what I'm telling you. I'm showing off now, but the stuff works. It's just when you get it, it works. It's kind of beautiful. So it's fun for me to do. It's fun to watch people flourish in front of me. It's fun to watch people get in relationships and have everything they want from not knowing to knowing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I do like podcasting. My podcasting reason is to spread that out there. There is hope. There is hope. It's doable. You just don't, what's in the culture is going to backfire on you if you follow the culture's pace of, you know what I mean? Like there's a
Mhm.
way to do we have to go back a little more to what works. And what works is more lined up with nature. And it's a modern way to do this. Sometimes I hear ladies who say to me, oh, so we're supposed to go back to the 50s and dumb it down for you guys. I'm like, that is not what I'm saying. That's kind of rude, by the way. It's not at all what I'm saying. There's a way to do this in modern times, understanding the dance. Like this is all a dance, right? I come from the background of dancing, and relationships are like dance. So look behind me. That's my wife and I ballroom dancing,
Okay. Yeah.
right? The metaphors for dancing and what I do in my work is exactly the same. Yin yang is two pieces coming together, doing two different pieces completely, but together it became a new entity. That's a relationship. But
Mhm.
do you think that my wife, when I dance with her, does anything that I do? No, she does everything backwards in high heels and a dress. It's not easy. She's not lame. She's not. She's not just a noodle. She's supporting her side. She's working with me. We're communicating with our hands. Right? It's a beautiful, beautiful adventure. I take her on the dance floor and she squeals sometimes still because I surprise her because she trusts my leadership and she gets to be free and enjoy. Right?
Mhm.
That's the relationship. You know what I mean? Anyway, so the podcasting is to really bring hope out there. It is possible, it is doable, but you have to be careful what you listen to because it's not out there. So that said, when I do podcasts, I notice there's two kinds of listeners. It's very
Okay.
interesting. There are people who come to podcasts because they want information. They're curious about life, things, circumstances. They trip on us. The guys talk about relationship. Oh, okay, interesting. Let's see what he's got to say. Okay, whatever, right? But so for people, listeners who are looking for information, right? I'm going to give you my direct email. If you email me at Andre Coaching, the number one at Gmail, Andre, my name, Andre, coaching, COACHING, the number one at Gmail, and this in the subject box, you just write workshop. I created a 25-minute workshop for the ladies that explains free, it's completely free. Um, that explains how to balance life from the business life and the personal life. Everything that I see ladies struggle with. If you work too much, you can't date, you don't have time to date, you're exhausted, kind of thing. How do you balance the love life and the business life? There's a way to do this, but it's not the way the culture teaches it. Anyway, so if you're curious and then you get a sense of what I do when I talk about what I teach, again, Andre Coaching One workshop, I'll send you a link. It's a 25-minute video. Boom. People want information. The other type of listeners often are people who want to take action. They go, okay, that guy's got something I want to talk to him. Beautiful. If you want to talk to me, Andre Coaching One at Gmail, and in the box write talk now. And I'll send you a link to my calendar. And you book yourself a time that's open on my calendar. It's called an exploratory call for an hour, 15 or so. And we'll talk about what's not working, where you stuck, right? Because it's always the same, right? It's when you find yourself in the loop, always the same dilemma, always the same result, right? Always attracting boys for women and men, always attracting the crazies or whatever it is. It's like, so when life shows you a pattern, it's you. It's not men, it's not women, it's you, right? You're the common denominator. So we go back into your past, right? So in that call, basically, women who come at me and men who come at me with what's wrong with me, right? This should work, but it's not working. What's wrong with me? I go, there's nothing wrong with you. You know, your past in childhood, not one of us gets out of childhood unscathed. You understand the line that we only use 10% of our brains? It's
Mhm.
because 90% of our lives are driven by our subconscious and the belief that we have about life, people, ourselves, the world. So we all have injuries in childhood, and some are like men are dangerous. You can't trust men. Women are crazy. I'm not going to amount to anything. I'm alone in the world. I don't belong here. Whatever it is recorded, right? And those are the things that loop us in this story that doesn't end seemingly. So
Mhm.
in that conversation, we actually go right to trauma because it's trauma and figure out what happened, where the wheels came off. I do it in 15 minutes. And we realize there's nothing wrong with you. You're just a product of your past. So if you know what's happened, we can fix it. And so I'll talk to you about. So if we know then what happened and it's fixable, what's the dream? What is the life that you want? What's that look like? Companionship, marriage, kids. What is it? And then we'll talk about there's different ways to get invested in working with me, small, medium, large. There's 5 different ways to start understanding or learning. So under
Mhm.
coaching one, talk now. That's my
Okay.
gift to you listeners.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. So I think we covered quite a bit today. And I think people, if they have any more questions, of course they can reach out to you. They can,
Mhm.
message Andre Coaching1 at gmail.com and say talk now, or they can do workshop
Yep.
to better understand. And and I mean, it's great what you're doing for people to try to help reconnect man and woman, and help people lives.
Yeah,
You know.
good. Because what's happening out there, let me just put a cherry on that. What's happening out there right now is because relationships have gotten so complicated and everyone's confused, where it should be easier because we equalize the playing field, right? It should be on paper, it should work better, and it's not. And there's a reason for that. It's so what's happening is relationships are difficult. Relationships fall apart, marriages fall apart, the kids get left behind because divorce is like throwing your kids on a moving bus. And what happens is these kids often don't recover from the trauma and or they don't trust relationship. They don't. You know what I mean? So when culture when culture, when the family system falls apart, right? The children cannot be raised in systems that like make them raise an environment where they're balanced and understand relationship, and they can create their own relationship, their own family. When family systems fall apart, culture falls apart, and that's the big mission for me. This has to stop. Our culture is falling apart because the family system is falling apart. It's complete chaos, and the children suffer, but ultimately culture altogether. So I'm just part of the disruptor. I'm just here to help change and return this thing around, along with a whole bunch of other people who do this kind of work. But I think together we could really put a dent in this thing and inspire people to understand it is possible. It's very possible. It's doable. You can do it. You can have the life you want. You got to learn. You just got
Yep.
to come in.
Yep.
Yeah, there
I
you go.
agree. I agree. So thank you, Andre, for coming on and discussing, the importance of relationships and talking about your relationship coaching, as well as giving some insight to some of those things. I'm pretty sure the audience. I know I've learned a lot here, and it's still a lot more to learn.
Yeah.
I've you can learn a million things about the
What, wa-
other
what,
species.
what was your favorite part, just for fun? Because I never know, right? I'm just talking all day long. Like, what was your favorite part? What's the one that got you, just for fun?
Um, I would say, just realizing that is, well, I tell you what, my favorite statistic was the 80/20,
Yeah.
and then I guess my favorite part would probably be um that it's actually more women trying to understand than there is men.
Yep.
Because I mean, just going off other people's experiences that I see, and then some of my past prior experiences, it seemed like that the man has to kind of um seek way to what the woman wants,
Hmm.
and not as much as the woman trying to see what the man likes or wants or whatever the case may
Right.
be.
Like,
um
driven by their feelings, sometimes it's very difficult.
right.
That makes that paradigm kind of difficult, and if at all possible, sometimes.
Yes,
It's
yes,
interesting.
I would think. So
So nobody's misbehaving. It's just sort of like how it's wired. If that makes sense.
right, yeah. I mean, it's just who they naturally are. So
Yeah.
but so that was interesting to me when you
Mm.
said that. I was kind of shocked. So
Thank you, thank you. I'm always curious because I never know what sticks. Like, I'm just, like, I go with da 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 da, da, but I don't know what sticks. I can read your face, I can a little bit, but I really don't know. So thank you, because I like to know what sticks.
yeah. I mean, it all really stuck, but it just I'm big on when I learn something or when I hear something, I'm big on constantly analyzing. So I'm still analyzing everything that we talked about. So sometimes it takes a second to recall a certain thing because I'm still analyzing everything.
Yep. Yeah.
Uh, so my mind
Yeah.
kind of works like that sometimes, but definitely. So I appreciate you taking your time out to come on here and talk with me
Thank you.
today. And I'm pretty sure the audience should have learned a lot. And if not, they can always reach out to you to learn more
Absolutely.
and to make sure that they're able to connect with their significant other,
Mm.
and so on and so forth. So, everybody that's watching, I appreciate everybody that tuned in today. You guys have just watched another episode of All in All with Alex, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.